My name is Lauren Wingate, and on today's show we will be talking about autism and autism awareness. So, when did you get diagnosed with autism?
Age 6. They noticed weird behaviour since I was like born, and then they were like, let's take him and get him figured out, and then they diagnosed me with Asperger's, and then when I was like 12 I got re-diagnosed with ASD, so yeah.
Okay. Did you understand what autism was after they explained?
No, but I think I understood that it meant something was different about me. I don't know. It took me many years. It took me many years to really figure out what that actually meant, and that I was actually any different from anybody else. It was a bit strange to figure out, but yeah, eventually I got it.
Okay. Have you struggled academically?
Yeah, but more from like laziness and like distraction. So like to say that like my disorder has like prevented me from being able to like absorb information would be wrong. But like what I think it's done is it makes me more interested in other things I want to do. So like I'd much rather go biking or play some computer game for like 70 hours than learn any. Well, I think most people would rather do that, but I'd become obsessed with it, and I would much rather do that than do anything productive for myself until like recently.
After you were diagnosed, were you treated differently after?
Yeah, they had to give me a TA at primary school, and that sort of set me apart. Everybody was kind of like, oh, well, why does he get his own teacher? I was allowed a laptop, which I still didn't do any work. I never did any work in primary school. So I ended up getting transferred to a proper special needs school. So that was when it wasn't really different anymore, because that's how it was treated.
Okay. What was your experience at school like?
Well, my experience of school is like my knowledge of editing, teamwork, and well, there's many things, but I'm not much likely to name them.
Okay. Has bullying changed from when you were at school into college?
What do you mean by that?
Have you been bullied in school, and how has it changed?
Oh yeah, but I have been bullied recently, and after that I was actually given some advice by tutors how to avoid being bullied. Like let's say for instance, like would you telling them politely to please not to annoy me, it gets on my nerves, and if it keeps happening, just try to like ignore them. Yeah. Maybe they'll have the ability to stop.
Would you cope without any support?
Some days I feel like I can cope without support, but some days I need support. So it's a bit of 50-50
it's like a
situation,
mix.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think the government should do more to help people like you and Ali and Andrew?
Well, my view is the government should always help people with different needs and so on. But unfortunately, what you see here with the government is it's a letdown in between people's difficulties and so on. They don't really understand the needs of the pupil themselves, and they kind of fail pupils that way.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Alright. This is Lisa. Lisa has two children on the autistic spectrum, both on varying parts. So, how do you think that autistic people should get more help from the government, and if so, why?
Yes, I do think the government should help more. Depending on whereabouts you live in the country, you get more help than in other places. I know some councils within the London boroughs have different companies that they use to give lots and lots of help to people. When it comes to Ealing Borough, there is very little help. Once you go past the children and adolescent services, there is no help at all around. As for financial, sometimes there are certain things that people on the spectrum need extra that we cannot afford to pay for. You know, the government needs to recognise that it is not all under one little heading. It's a varying problem, and there is a huge rainbow, different colours and different parts of it. I think it's something that needs to be taught and talked about within government, so they are aware of different needs, and that just because you don't show full physical signs of autism doesn't mean you're not on the spectrum. That is the biggest problem that we have at the moment. If you look what they call normal, then there is nothing wrong with you.
I think autistic people in today's society are vulnerable.
Yes, they are, because they're not getting the support network around apart from the families. There are no outreach centres and counsellors, social workers that are prepared to come in and support the families and the young autistic people, which leaves them quite vulnerable. There's no extra help with housing. PIP at the moment is a total joke, because quite a lot of claims have been thrown out because the assessors say that if you've got autism and you're not showing the signs, you must have recovered from it, even though that's impossible.
I spoke to Delroy Jones, a carer who cares for people with autism and other learning disabilities. He's told us that he has worked with a lot of people with learning disabilities who have faced a lot of abuse because of them. Delroy has mentioned of a time when he worked in a household with a lot of vulnerable autistic people. One time there was a person who came round who is a world-renowned drug dealer, and he came in and he stole all their stuff, and obviously it wasn't very good because the autistic person thought that the drug dealer was their friend. Obviously he wasn't. So far we have asked a lot of experts for their statements on autism from the Autism Research Society, but they have not come through. We do have one statement from a Dr. Shooter who was on this morning, who said that parents only want to have their children diagnosed with autism so that they can excuse their behaviour. Mike Shooter believes that parents like a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome because it's something you can boast about. At the National Autistic Society, we know that this is far from the truth. Most parents, in fact, know that being autistic, including having Asperger's syndrome, means facing considerable challenges in life. 4 in 10 autistic children have been illegally excluded from school. Only 16% of autistic people are in full-time employment, despite most wanting to work. And the average wait from the first time a parent asks for help to an actual diagnosis is 3.5 years. Far from the overdiagnosis that Dr. Shooter suggests, a diagnosis is often the only hope parents and children have of getting a half-decent education with teachers who understand their condition and challenges.